Hi, my name is Dr. Chen Yiming. Welcome to the latest medical educational video by Dr. Wellness. Today, we'll be talking about an interesting topic of glycemic index and glycemic load, what they are, how are they calculated, and what are the health benefits of taking meals low in glycemic load. What are the 5 common tips that can help us improve our meals, to improve our health, and to reduce our sugar? All this and more. Please watch till the end of the video to learn all about it. Again, I would like to get you guys to click on the subscription and notification button so that we can notify you whenever we have a new video. Your notification matters to us, and this is what motivates us to produce more quality educational videos for you. The glycemic index is actually a ranking system which ranks how fast the carbohydrate is being digested and how sharply it causes an increase in sugar levels once absorbed into the body. It is given a number from 0 to 100, with glucose being assigned 100 in terms of glycemic index. So glycemic index that is less than 55 is low, 55 to 69 is medium, and anything more than 70 is considered high. How is the glycemic index calculated? An experiment is done. An individual is fasted for about 12 hours. His blood glucose level is checked, and the value is plotted on a graph. He is given 50 grams of carbohydrate to consume, and the blood sugar level is measured again 2 hours later. The increase in sugar level over time is plotted on a chart, and the area under curve is obtained. So then this experiment is repeated by giving the individual 50 grams of pure glucose. Again, the change or the increase in sugar level at 0 and 2 hours is plotted on a graph. The area under curve for the food that is evaluated divided by the area under curve for 50 grams of glucose will be calculated, and that number multiplied by 100 gives you the glycemic index of the food for this individual. This entire process is repeated 10 times with 10 other individuals, and the results is average, and that will give you the glycemic index of the food item. Some of the examples of different food belonging to different types of glycemic categories are as such. Food that are low in glycemic index includes green leafy vegetables, raw carrots, kidney beans, chickpeas, and most fruits. What are the food items in the medium GI category? They include sweet corns, bananas, pineapples, raisins, oat breakfast cereals. And those in a high glycemic index categories, you have white rice, white bread, and sugared drinks. Now that we have explained what is glycemic index, we want to go one step further and we evaluate what is this glycemic load and why it is important. For every individual food, it is usually a mixture of different nutrient groups. For example, watermelon consists of carbohydrate and fiber. If you have 100 grams of watermelon, it is not all carbohydrates. It is only 5 grams of carbohydrate. So even though watermelon has a glycemic index of 72, classifying it under the high glycemic index group, it actually only has very low glycemic load. So let us dwell into the calculation of glycemic load. So if you have 100 grams of food, we calculate the number of grams of carbohydrates within this 100 grams of food. You multiply it by the glycemic index, and that amount divided by 100 is your glycemic load. I'll give you an example using again watermelon. Watermelon has a glycemic index of 72. So 100 grams of watermelon has 5 grams of carbohydrate. So 5 grams multiplied by 72 divide by 100 gives you only a glycemic load of 3.6. So glycemic load of 3.6 is low. So that is an idea of glycemic load. This is important because it tells us the sugar release following consumption of a mass of food. So what are the categories of glycemic load? Less than 10 considered low glycemic load. 10, 11 to 19 is considered medium glycemic load, and more than 20 is a high glycemic load. So why is a low glycemic index and low glycemic load important for our health? I think low glycemic index and low glycemic load has many positive health values. One, it actually helps us control our sugar and manage diabetes. People who are on low glycemic index and low glycemic load meals, generally it's been shown that you can reduce your HbA1c by about 0.5% and in the long run reduce diabetic related complications by 20%. Secondly, it can actually help to reduce the cholesterol levels. Low glycemic load and low glycemic index meals can actually help to reduce total cholesterol and the bad cholesterol, which is the LDL levels, and actually helps to maintain the health of our blood vessels. Third, it can help to maintain our weight. Low GI and low glycemic meals can actually maintain our metabolic rate, help us burn fat, and help us reduce hunger, and in doing so actually help keep our weight manageable. 4, it can help to sustain our energy level. Food that is low in GI is broken down slowly and with the glucose gradually being released into our bloodstream. This ensures a sustained gradual supply of sugar and carbohydrates to our body cells and our brain. This actually helps to improve concentration and cognitive performance, especially for young school-going children and teenagers. That improves their behavior and improves their results in school. Also, for athletes, we found that low glycemic index food can actually provide a gradual release of energy and hence improve tolerance when they are doing prolonged exercises which are 1 to 2 hours or more. Lastly, researchers have also shown that food low in glycemic index and glycemic load actually helps in improving acne. So if you have acne or pimples, you can consider adopting meals that are low in glycemic index and glycemic load to help improve the acne situation. However, glycemic index and glycemic load have a few practical limitations. Number one, the ripeness of the fruit. The more ripe the fruit is, the higher the amount of sugar that is contained within it, and hence the higher the glycemic index. Number two, the way you cook it. If the food is cooked for a long time or overcooked, you are increasing the breakdown of the molecular structure and hence increasing the glycemic index as the sugar is more readily released into the bloodstream. Third is the processing of the food. The more highly processed the food is, for example, flour has a higher glycemic index than whole grain because of the because of the increase in surface area volume ratio. So the more processed it is, the higher the glycemic index. And 4, the contents that you add when you're cooking your meal also affects the glycemic index. For example, by adding acidic stuff like vinegar, lemon and lime, you're reducing the glycemic index. By adding fat into your meal, you're also reducing the glycemic index. So bearing in mind the practical limitations of the glycemic index and glycemic load, do not be too fixated on the number of glycemic index or glycemic load. Instead, I'm going to share with you these 5 tips in terms of planning your meal to improve your health. Number 1, avoid sugared and colored drinks because they're high in sugar contents and high in sugar and high in glycemic index. Number 2, cut down the entire proportion of a meal by 20 to 30%, and in doing so, you're reducing your calories and carbohydrate intake. 3, choose fresh food over processed food anytime. 4, take food high in fiber and protein, and in doing so, you are inevitably reducing your carbohydrate intake. And 5, take the food in entirety. For example, if you can take a potato with skin, it's definitely more healthy. Alright. Thank you for watching till the end of the video. I hope it has provided you with good information so that you can plan your next meal and stay healthy. Till the next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon.